Some may know her as the mascot of the series. Others associate her as being a poor shrine maiden. And many would agree with calling her Armpit Miko. While all are fine, I'm gonna call her Reimu Hakurei. Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Character Profile, the series where I take an in-depth look at the cast of the series, from games, print works, fan-related stuff, and anything else that could be attributed to Reimu will be discussed in this video series. My last video did a thorough analysis of our favorite black and white, master-sparking harem queen that is Marisa Kirisame. So it's only fair that the next video will be dedicated to probably the most important character in Touhou. So without further ado, let's begin the character profile for Reimu Hakurei. Name and their meaning. So Reimu's full name is Reimu Hakurei. The characters for Reimu's last name, Hakurei, literally means something along the lines of esteemed companion. I mean, when it comes to yokai extermination, she would be someone you want to bring along. The first word, haku, means wide or exposition. If the word means wide, then that could explain her wide shooting range, but that's just my theory. While rei means lovely, graceful, or beautiful. While the beautiful can be debatable amongst people, she is not graceful or lovely, at least towards other people anyway. Her first name Reimu, which can mean spirit/soul dream, is a relevant Japanese word that refers to a divine revelation made through dreams. In the PC98 times though, her name was written with a slight difference. If you're looking at the kanji dealio right now, the main thing that's different is the third character, as it's different from the current one Reimu is using. We started using Reimu's current kanji spelling during Shiso Gyoko onwards. That bloody third character is an uncommon form of that, the thing I'm showing right now, with identical meanings. In the Japanese community, the second or old spelling is used to refer to Reimu in the PC98 era specifically. Incidentally, Chinese/Taiwanese fans who use the traditional Chinese characters also adopt this style to refer to Reimu in general. Old Japanese kanji form and traditional Hanzi are basically identical. Right, well, we'll go with that. Character appearance. Reimu is of moderate height. In the PC98 canon, she is depicted as having purple hair and eyes, and she wears a large red ribbon at the back of her head and red tubes on her side locks. As you can tell, like Marisa, looked completely different from her Windows variant. From a story of Eastern Wonderland to Mystic Square, she wears an outfit like a traditional Miko uniform with a red hakama over a white kimono. By traditional, I'm assuming no Armpit Miko then, during the PC98. However, her best known design is that of the Windows era, since, you know, it's still this era. She has brown-black hair which varies in length and style between games, tending towards long and loose in later works, though she still wears a red ribbon and matching tubes on her side locks. She's still seen in her Miko uniform, but it bears little in common with the standard uniform beyond the red and white color scheme, which Zune has acknowledged. Alright, good to know that Miko outfits by default were not meant to expose armpits. This uniform consists of a red skirt rather than the standard hakama, a sleeveless red top with a white collar tied with a yellow ribbon, a red ribbon in EOSD and PCB, a blue one in Phantasmagoria, Subterranean, Hopeless, Urban, Legend, and Legacy. Yeah, like Marisa, Reimu really likes her clothing accessories, and a pair of white detached sleeves which expose her armpits in Sarasha. It wouldn't be Reimu without the armpits. Her shaman clothing and her purification rod came from Runosuke Mochika, but it's unknown who designs them. In chapter 7 of Strange and Bright Nature Deity, she used chopsticks on her left hand, and it was stated that she was left-handed. The statement, however, was deleted in the collected edition. Strange, but oh well. But she held a pen with her right hand in Subterranean. It has been speculated by fans that assuming this wasn't an art error, she might be ambidextrous or just used to writing with her right hand. Appearance in the series. In terms of appearance in games and print work, being the mascot of the series, she's been in almost all of them. The exception when it came to the games were Shoot the Bullet and Fairy Wars, though for Shoot the Bullet, it was the same thing as Marisa, where she didn't appear in the main game, but showed up in the after story. So I leave it up to you guys if that appearance counted or not. And for Fairy Wars, like Shoot the Bullet, not in the main game, but she did show herself in an ending. Now when it comes to print work, she has appeared in all of them as either a main, secondary, or minor character. Personality. Now when it comes to personality, she's straightforward, optimistic, and a bit curious. She's quick to anger if offended, so I advise not to make jokes about her lack of donations, for your safety anyway. While she can get angry easily, she's also just as quick to help those in need. According to Komachi, Reimu has an innocent heart that can't truly hate anyone. I questioned that after reading Oni Miku, but I digress. While rather lazy in her free time, she's highly devoted to her duties as the Hakurei Shrine Maiden, resulting in a shoot first and ask questions later attitude to yokai extermination. So if you see Reimu and you're a yokai, do expect to be in a fight before you start talking. This makes her known to exterminate yokai indiscriminately, regardless of how much of a threat they represent to her or others. One example is Tokiko in Curiosity, who was ambushed by Reimu while she was, in Reimu's own words, reading and minding her own business. Damn, Reimu, a little dick move there, don't you think? Apparently, however, she actually helps yokai in trouble when it really matters. For instance, in Silent Sinner in Blue, she kept Raisin. No, not that Raisin. This Raisin, the one that's still living in the moon. She helped Raisin disguise as an Earth yokai rabbit by letting her stay in her home and using the futon. Not only that, she even went to Iinte to inform the residents of an injured rabbit at her place. I'll admit, that's a good guy move indeed. It's been stated that Reimu treats everyone the same, whether they're humans, yokai, or gods, giving them no particular respect or disrespect. This habit has caused her to inadvertently befriend many yokai she defeats. While she tries to keep yokai away from her shrine, this is because it makes it harder to do her job, rather than because she dislikes them. Exterminating yokai can be a little annoying when they're hanging at your bloody home. At the end of Symposium of Post-Mysticism, when Reimu goes to break up the meeting the religion leaders were having, who were Kaneko, Byakuren, Miko, with Marisa and Akyu as well, Miko notes that though Reimu says she wants to eliminate all the yokai, she actually just wants to attain a peace in Gensokyo that doesn't require violence like the others' present wish. Reimu is consistently described as carefree at heart, goalless, and simple in her thinking. You know, the whole shoot first and ask questions deal. She also just doesn't plain see things quite the way everyone else does. It never seems to occur to her that her way of doing things can cause people a lot of unnecessary grief before the resolution, or that what seems straightforward to her might be a mind-bending trick to others, or that her own natural gifts can be an unfair advantage in some things. And as the flip side to her impartial view of others, Zune says she's not particularly attached to anyone either. No matter how popular she is, she's actually alone in her heart. Well, that's a different way of looking at our mascot. And because of this personality of hers, her ability to lie is on a garbage level. Whenever she tries to lie, it's so painfully obvious that it's practically impossible to not realize it immediately. She is really that shitty of a liar. Looks like you need Marisa to teach you a tip or two about lying. But to be fair, it's not like she's the best at it either. An excellent example is when she disrupts the meeting in Symposium. She claims it's to protect humans beyond all else, but it does not take long for other elements to slip out. Not just her being a slave to PR, but that she's doing this on behalf of the weaker yokais as well. Oh, Reimu, can't you just admit you care about those yokais instead of going a roundabout way of displaying it? Her attitude to humans and yokais in general make her relationship with the human village a bit tricky, if you will. Later works have also started to emphasize the pressure she feels from the human village. Most humans cannot accept the idea of a shrine maiden associating with yokai, and either don't know or don't care about the time she has protected them in the past. And trust me, she saved Gensokyo quite a bit given the amount of games Zune has released. In Forbidden Scrollery, it reaches the point where Reimu can't even point out a disguised Mamizo even to foil her current scheme, since she had to reveal she knows her. It gets even better as Legacy reveals that Reimu's yokai Shrine Maiden reputation has even spread to the moon. I'm not for sure if I should be impressed or not that her reputation reached that far. I'll let you guys decide that. Occupation/jobs. Given Reimu's last name, she's the Shrine Maiden of the Hakurei Shrine and one of the main incident solvers in Gensokyo. She and others characterize the time she spends at the shrine to be largely boring and uneventful. While she's sometimes serious about her duties, she can't seem to get many worshippers at her shrine. Well, when your shrine is known as the yokai shrine to the villagers, that can hinder the prospect of worshippers. It appears that her yokai extermination is her only method of earning even a thin salary. Kaneko has stated that if she was to acquire a tremendous amount of faith, she could become a goddess. But at the moment she acts more like a yokai, Reimu being a goddess. That could make things more interesting. And like stated earlier, she sometimes is serious about her duties, and I'm going to showcase it for you. During the events of chapter 24 and 25 of Forbidden Squirrelry, Kozuzo reads a book about divination. The book had theories and techniques on how to perform, which Kozuzo learned to do. Long story short, she kept using them until the original author, who was a human, came back as a yokai due to some crazy loophole and shit I'd rather not explain. Anyway, the yokai then tells Reimu to let him go as he was not planning on harming the human village, and saying that Reimu was a yokai shrine maiden. It looked like it was going well for him until Reimu did the opposite and killed him, telling the yokai she didn't mind needlessly killing. Now you may be thinking, holy bloody fuck, that's some ice cold shit right there. He explicitly said that he wasn't going to do anything to the village, and she straight up killed him. Before you go up and at it at Reimu, let me explain. As I said, this yokai was originally a human and turned into one through his crazy ass method. As the yokai died, Reimu explained in Gensokyo, a human villager becoming a yokai is the greatest sin there is. It later goes into details that humans who transform into yokai or assume yokai-like natures are called Jinyu, and she firmly believes that Jinyu would destroy the balance of Gensokyo. Now these two chapters is super important for Gensokyo in general, from learning the greatest sin to destroying balance, and Reimu taking her job serious. A lot of things can be taken from these two chapters, but the thing I wanted to focus on was her duty here. While Reimu may look like a slacker to many, when something is threatening Gensokyo, Reimu isn't afraid to do what her job entails, and that's to really exterminate yokais, or Jinyus in this example anyway. Titles. Now being one of the two main characters, no doubt Reimu is going to have a lot of titles. Starting from the PC98 series, we have Shrine Maiden who protects dreams and tradition, Shrine Maiden, Shaman, and Eternal Shrine Maiden. For the Windows, we have Eternal Shrine Maiden, Shrine Maiden of Hakurei Shrine, Wonderful Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Hakurei Shrine Maiden, Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Shrine Maiden of Fair Weather, Flying Mysterious Shrine Maiden, Freewheeling Human, Shrine Maiden of the Five Hindrance, Wonderful Shaman of Paradise, the Advocate of Myriad Gods, Arcane Shrine Maiden of Barriers, and Chase Down the Mysteries, the Shrine Maiden who ends the incidents. Again, I know you're the main character and shit, but do you really need this many titles? Get the bloody Shrine Maiden of Paradise work for every game. Possession. Reimu does have possessions, although not to the same extent as Marisa, but enough to warrant this section. In most of the Touhou games, Reimu uses the yin-yang orb in combat. In Subterranean, they also function as communicators with people above the surface. In addition, she usually carries a gohei, sometimes referred to as her purification rod, originally prepared by Renosuke. She also possesses a great amount of ofuda, sacred paper charms with anti-yokai properties that she uses to fight, seal, or exterminate yokai of any kind in her Damaku. Apparently, she can also use them to create barriers and even clones of herself. I'll be honest, I was not prepared for the clone deal. Like the Yin Yang Orb, she uses the ofuda in most, if not all, the games she has appeared in, either as a normal shot, usually with homing properties, or as a bullet for her spell cards. Abilities and powers. Being the Shrine Maiden of the Hakurei Shrine does net her some cool powers, which is always a bonus. As a Hakurei Shrine Maiden, Reimu can handle the Hakurei Yin Yang Orb, and is trained in yokai extermination techniques as well as standard duties like performing blessings. Reimu is also capable of invoking Gensokyo's native gods into her body, but isn't well trained enough to do so reliably. Another of her abilities comes from barrier techniques. Reimu displays great aptitude with magical barriers beyond that normally associated with Shrine Maidens, presumably related to her work in maintaining the Great Hakurei Barrier. Among her techniques are barriers that explode, push enemies away, or act as portals for her other attack. Reimu is capable of dismantling barriers and seals too complex for Marisa and Patchley to understand with what Marisa calls her cheat technique. I'm gonna have to agree with that if even Patchley couldn't open that given her knowledge of magic. One of her abilities is the ability to float. While flight is extremely common among inhabitants of Gensokyo, ain't that the truth? Reimu's ability extends beyond that. She's capable of phasing in and out of existence, or as described in the Grimoire of Marisa, floating away from reality. Reimu can use this power to teleport short distances, but rarely seems to be aware that she's doing so. The ultimate expression of this ability is fantasy nature, which allows her to float away and become out of reach from enemies' attacks. while active. This ability was considered too powerful for use as a spell card until Marisa gave it a name and time limit. Another one of her power is aura manipulation. It's stated in the Omake text of EOSC that Reimu can control the natural spirits of living things, an ability which isn't listed in any source afterwards. No clear instances of this ability has been displayed in canon. While that sounds cool and shit, I want to see how she uses that in the future. Music. Let's talk about her songs, as she's got a shit ton like Marisa. While Marisa may have the most songs, it doesn't mean Reimu is slacking. She's got 6 themes, excluding ones from stages. And remember, we're only counting the original and not remixes. Any remixes will be displayed below the original. Her first song is Mystical Oriental Love Consultation, Maiden's Capriccio, Dichromatic Lotus Butterfly, Ancients, Dichromatic Lotus Butterfly, Red and White, Maiden's Capriccio, Dream Battle, and Spring Lane, Colorful Path.